Okay, I need to document all of this. So let's just start from the left and we'll trace things back. So into rate in, we're taking a random signal which we're attenuating coming from sample and hold out. Okay, that's all that's happening there because we're using these at a slow-ish rate to, here's the mod wheel, to modulate pulse width and filter cutoff amount on a sine wave. All right, so it sweeps up and down at a rate that varies. Okay, pitch in on oscillator 1 is coming from the qubit bloom, number 1. And by the way, this is the number 8 sequence is what we've programmed this into. Playing at a pretty fast rate, which is controlled here. And the rate is coming out 2 places, green and gray here. But we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so pitch in here. All right, now, what do we have here? This is an output which we have to dial all the way up because it's only line level, which is a little weak for Eurorack. This is coming naturally from Mavis. Mavis's output for the Dopplering planes flying overhead sound effect that triggers periodically. Okay. Now here, what have we got coming in here? We're taking the filter out and we're putting it into the high pass filter and taking it from here into the reverb in, and it makes the reverb not so muddy because it's affecting more of the high end, not the low end. Okay, and we've talked about these already. And this we just talked about, green here and red. Okay, what do we got here? Well, this is envelope amount in. So each time the envelope is triggered, how much does it affect the filter? Well, that is coming from one of the 2 LFOs on maths. This one's sweeping up and down. I have it going at a fairly low rate. These are pretty high, meaning the time is high. And so that's affecting how much envelope there is opening the filter. How much the envelope opens the filter each time. Okay, and along the way, here's where we set this so we can cause that adjustment to have a different starting point. So that's from very high to even negative, but then it's modified by that sweeping LFO. Okay, great. We talked about this. This is trigger in. That's what's triggering each one of these events. And of course, that's coming from qubit bloom again. I gotta trace which one it is, so I have to look down here. It's coming higher from gate 1. So pitch is from out 1, and then gate 1 is the gate for number 1, channel 1. Meanwhile, as long as we're here, clock, the green one, which is going to match gate. Those are flashing together. That one's coming down here to the drum machine. That's it. It's in. That's how qubit is controlling the tempo of the drum machine. That's why drum machine tempo doesn't know anything. Okay, that's everything back there. Now, okay, let's see. We're using new dividers so that we only trigger the overhead Dopplering plane sound every, in this case, 32 cycles. You'll also notice it's not running at 16th notes. It's advancing every 16th notes. That's because its input isn't the clock diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle. It's, where is its input? Its input is yellow. I'm using it multiple places. And I'm also using that same input, we haven't talked about what it is, to reset qubit bloom so it always starts at the beginning. So that the drum machine sequence and qubit bloom sequence always start at the beginning. This LED, these ones that are sweeping, this starts at the beginning at the same instant that this starts at the top. Okay, great. Now, where are those getting a signal from? They're getting a signal from the drum machine. It's accent out, which you can program what accent out means. And currently it's set to end of the cycle. So every time it hits here, it sends that, and we use that as a reset, right? Because we're taking it up here, we're using it as a reset for bloom, and we're also using it as the steps that are being counted here. Diddle-it, 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 diddle-it. And when we get to 32 or 64, wherever we're plugged into, we trigger this to happen. We'll get there. Okay, so that's a lot of these. We've talked about this one. Okay, now the rest of this is maths controlling Mavis. So maths input trigger in. Okay, I have to think why that is coming from from the 132. Okay, right, fine. So every 32 measures, red is coming into here to the mult, and I'm using it two places. One of them is I'm using it to trigger this, and this is the Doppler wave. This is the LFO for the Doppler. It has a short rise time, and then it takes a long time to fall. Okay. Am I using this for pitch, or am I using this for the envelope? I can't recall, but we'll see where we take it out at the bottom. Okay, the other place I'm using it is to trigger the gate here. I think I'm using this LFO. I'm sorry, this envelope for the envelope. I think I'm using the Mavis envelope for envelope. I think that's right. Okay, what's this one? Oh, that's volt per octave. That's the pitch. Okay, yeah. This maths number 4 channel is controlling the pitch. So it rises, and then it takes a long time. And I need that to not be too wild, so I'm attenuating it here, and you can see it's barely off the middle. Otherwise, it's beep. We don't want that. We want it to sound like an airplane flying overhead, so we're using just a tiny bit. So that's where we're using this 4 output. This 1 output we already talked about. It's sweeping something. Yeah, it's sweeping envelope amount there. Could use it elsewhere too, maybe. Okay. There we go. And so there's actually not much patching in Mavis. We're taking the output we talked about earlier and running it through the mixer here, turned all the way up and the noise in. Whew, that's everything. Let's look at these button positions, knob positions. Okay. Right. And I think, and let's look at maths knob positions, kind of get an idea where those are. Both cycles are on. Well, maybe I don't want this. This is going to be triggered by something. Maybe I don't want this on. I can't remember. Let's turn it off and see if everything happens correctly, because this is controlling pitch, right? Yeah. Anyway, we'll listen. Next time we get to 32. We have to wait some more. I'm counting in binary. Here we go. Yeah, this doesn't need to be cycling. This does, because we want it sweeping up and down on its own. This only needs to run when it's triggered. Whew, okay, that's what we know. Now I can unplug it. Now I can finally unplug it. I'm free.